It's a Wednesday. That means we talk a little bit about the law. Joining us, attorney Sandra Spurgeon joining us. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So, talk a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am been practicing law for 30 years and recently started doing this type of legal analyst work, just putting a little different spin on after practicing in the courtroom for, over 30 years. And so it's so great to be able to bring an understanding, some explanation as to why the laws are the way they are, and to be able to point when I can't make sense of them either.
Okay. I want to talk about, of course, the Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. And as part of that, a number of fairly large U.S. companies have said, okay, well, if one of our employees needs to leave their home state to get an abortion, like, say, Idaho, they would pay to get those people to a state where they could get an abortion. But now they're saying, or at least some legal experts are saying, that is going to open those businesses up to criminal liability, potentially, and expose them to lawsuits. So let's start off with the first one, which is, how could they be potentially criminally liable, like, for instance, Amazon or Apple?
Well, so... yeah, there's so many tentacles, and I think that corporate America responded to the social pressure or the call, the outcry of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. But so, in the state of Oregon, it's still legal to have an abortion, but there are states in which it has now been outlawed. There are states that have, that are saying after 6 weeks, such as the state of Texas. Kentucky, it's banned abortion under any circumstances unless the life of the mother is at stake. So the problem is that for companies that are paying, that have offered to pay or adopt policies offering to pay for those services, travel costs, et cetera, is that the states who are very conservative, who've taken a very strict approach to abortion rights, are saying, look, you companies, you adopt these policies, you must reverse them now or you're going to be penalized. And so, like in the state of Indiana, they're convening next week. They're having a special session to really address some of these issues. And if state laws go into effect that a woman can't travel to obtain an abortion, then who's going to be responsible if that individual does? Who are they going to hold accountable? And in the state of Texas, they had essentially a whistleblower act. Any individual, my neighbor could report me for traveling to Oregon to get an abortion, and that individual can sue the provider, not the woman, but the provider, to really put a chilling effect on the medical profession in providing those medical services to women. So in companies, you have a federal protected interest of a medical privacy regarding your medical history and your medical records. That individual's opening themselves up to their employers knowing their medical history.
But isn't that the decision of the person that wants to open themselves up to that?
Oh, I don't know that most individuals understand that they have a federally protected right. I mean, you go to a doctor's office and they put forms in front of you, correct? Mm-hmm. But most of us, a lot of people don't understand they have a federally protected right of privacy regarding their medical history. And so, yeah, you are absolutely correct, and there'll have to be that disclosure made to those individuals. But it is a chilling effect, I think, when you're having to have your employer know or learn about your medical history, particularly if something is so sensitive.
How is this, though, any different than your employer requiring you to tell them that you've been vaccinated for COVID, which occurred all during the pandemic and still to this day? They can still do that. So
right. Well, I'm not saying that it's illegal, and in fact, I wrote about the employer's rights in looking at the entertainment industry for the Rolling Stones magazine at the beginning of the pandemic. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's illegal for an employer to ask. I'm just saying there's all types of considerations that go into whether an employee is going to ask the employer for compensation to be able to travel out of state and for reimbursement or for the advancing of costs for that person to have an abortion.
Joining us on the wake-up call, she is attorney Sandra Spurgeon. It doesn't seem that it would be necessarily legal for any state to say anybody can't cross state lines to get a medical procedure of any kind if they want to do that. How does that even pass legal muster?
Well, you are correct in terms of that there is protection regarding the right to travel. However, if you're that person who is seeking that ability to travel and they make it illegal, the legislature can enact through a majority vote can enact these laws and can only be overturned. Typically, it's going to be a judicial. It's going to be in the court system, and it's going to be tied up for years. So there's not an automatic ability to just say that's illegal. We can't follow that unless a court, you go into the legal court system and seek an injunction. And so, you're involving, there's so many tentacles with the considerations here that are happening, and undoubtedly all the courts throughout the country, all of these state courts are all going to be involved within the next, they already are, with injunctions where individuals are seeking injunctions saying, the 6-week ban, the 15-week ban, that it's unconstitutional now under their own individual state constitution. And it's going to become a ballot issue. They're talking about in Michigan, putting it on the ballot come November. So this is just the beginning of a process that it's going to take years to be able to go through and to cipher through what the end result is going to be and what the legality is for each of the states.
Off the email. So my employer should pay for my travel and not penalize me for missed work for a private medical procedure of my choice? I guess these companies are actually doing it by their own choice, right? It's not like somebody is saying they have to do this.
Well, I think that what everybody should understand is that major corporations typically fund their own health insurance. They have their own health insurance fund for their employees. They may have a third-party administrator that sort of looks like and talks like an insurance company, but in reality, it is the employer who is paying for. They set aside a certain percentage of their profits each year, and they have their own self-insured insurance.
All right. We appreciate you joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.